Hey everybody, this is Bryce Young, president and founder of Warm Audio, and I'm here today to talk to you about our newest creation, the WA-44. So this mic, the WA-44, I am very excited about. Since the founding of the company, the whole mission and purpose is to bring incredible sounding microphones, preamps, compressors, recording gear, guitar pedals now, at prices unheard of, never before seen, and at the same quality level and expectation that you'd expect out of much higher priced products. The WA-44 is our first ribbon microphone. It's actually our first microphone to be released that's not a condenser mic. So this is pretty exciting, a big milestone for the company. But it's also, it's just very exciting to see it finally come to fruition because we've been working on developing this for the last 3 years. So when we started out the quest to build this microphone, finding a quality ribbon source that we knew would provide us the proper aluminum material consistently with every order was definitely important. Once we found that source and we're really confident in that, then we moved to getting the magnet structure correctly. The Cinemag transformer, luckily, was probably one of the easier parts, and Cinemag is incredible at doing that kind of thing, and they have experience with ribbon microphones. But this process was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and we are just thrilled to finally bring this to you. So to talk about the history of the WA-44 and where it came from. Now, this is obviously a replica of the original 44 style mic that was designed in the 1930s, was used throughout the 50s a lot in broadcast and in recording. Used in the 60s as well, and used till today. They're very coveted mics, they still sound incredible even today. But that hot era was the 30s through the 60s. Some of the artists that have used this style of ribbon mic would be like Elvis Presley, Bing Crosby, Nat King Cole. Some modern artists might be Wilco. Beck, I know, has used this style of mic as well. This mic is timeless. I mean, it has a vintage sound. It's very mid-forward. The top end rolls off just perfectly and nicely, so you're not getting any harsh highs. But it is a timeless sound that can be used in modern recordings today, and I think many people don't own this style of mic simply due to price. So let's talk about what a 44 style ribbon mic sounds like and what it's best used on. I know that you probably came here to hear some sound samples, so we did provide those. If you click the link down below, you can head straight to the sound samples. But I want to describe how I hear the 44 style ribbon mic in, I guess, the best words that I can describe it. So I describe a 44 ribbon mic as having a very deep bass response, a larger than life low end, a very luscious, rich mid-range, a smooth, tame top end. So when you get into the treble, it starts to roll off around 16 kilohertz. So you're not getting tons of sibilant top end at all. And if you do want that top end, you can EQ that back in. And that is a trick of a lot of famous engineers that love the sound of ribbons, but they want a little more top end, is they'll use something like the WA-73 EQ, which is our 1073 style preamp with EQ, to dial some of that top end back in. So what sources sound good on a 44 style ribbon mic? Well, that's really up for interpretation, but I think a lot more than you may realize. And there's a lot of experimentation to be done, especially if you've never used a ribbon mic of this caliber. But to give you some examples, they work great on overheads of drums. And the reason why I think people like them as overheads is they tame the top end of the cymbals. A single 44 ribbon mic can sound great as a room mic or just back off of a drum kit to pick up the entirety of the drum set. Piano works great on piano. Acoustic guitars, vocals, of course. Vocals is probably the #1 place that we've seen a 44 style ribbon mic used in history and present. I've pointed out some instruments that the WA-44 microphone will work really, really well on. There are some situations though that I think we all encounter in a recording process where we struggle to find a mic for a source that's either sibilant, bright, a little too loud, harsh. This mic will tame those sources incredibly. All right, so I want to get into the mechanics of the mic, how it works, what makes ribbons special and different. So I'm going to show you some of the components that are inside of this mic. But I also quickly want to talk about the gain. So ribbon mics have some of the lowest output. I think if you've owned a condenser mic or a dynamic mic, you've noticed that a condenser mic usually has a stronger or louder output, meaning you need to use less gain on your preamp than a dynamic mic, where you might need to use more gain. Well, if you haven't used a ribbon, you're gonna need even more gain. And so a lot of preamps may not be able to drive the signal from a ribbon properly to your interface. And so you need to make sure you have a high gain preamp. I would suggest having a preamp that can do at least 65 dB of gain. I believe all of the warm audio preamps can do up to 71 dB. So if you've got a warm audio preamp, you're set. If you're still using your interface preamp, oftentimes those can only do about 50, 55 dB of gain. In the case of having an interface preamp, we'd of course encourage you, hey, try one of the warm audio preamps. We do think they sound really, really good. They capture the microphone incredibly. But if you're not ready to purchase a warm audio preamp, another option could be this product here, which we are releasing alongside the WA-44, which is the warm lifter. And there are other preamps like this on the market. This is a mini preamp that you'd actually put after the mic. So you connect here the mic to this, and then you connect this to your interface or your lower gain preamp. This is going to give you an additional 26 dB of gain. It was designed actually by Lucas Vandermee, who works here as an employee. He was the chief engineer at Apogee for over 25 years. Brilliant guy. And came up with this circuit. Extremely clean gain. It's not going to color your signal at all. You're going to just get that additional gain that you need. And it's got a couple cool features on it. So it's got a high pass filter, and it's also got a presence boost. So one thing we've talked about with ribbon mics is that they do roll off in the top end, but with this presence boost, without having an EQ, you can kick up the treble a little bit. So in addition to the gain of the preamp needing to be a higher gain preamp or using something like the warm lifter, in addition to that, I want to talk about impedance. So we love impedance on all of our preamps. This feature is labeled tone. And when you press the tone button in on a warm audio preamp, you are lowering the impedance of the preamp. When it's popped out, you're increasing the impedance. Ribbon mics like low impedances. And so on any of the warm audio preamps, if you press the tone button in, you're actually going to get a little more gain, but you're also going to get a little bit more top end. And it's interesting because it's actually in reverse when you're dealing with condenser mics. When you press the tone button in on a condenser mic, it actually rolls off the top end, but it increases the treble on a ribbon mic. Now to talk about some of the components inside the ribbon, I think these are cool to look at. I think components are sexy. You may or may not. I think this is pretty sexy. This is a very heavy magnet. And by the way, this mic is about 7 pounds. So if you are looking seriously at getting a WA-44, make sure you've got a good mic stand that's not gonna fall over. It would be a shame to watch this mic fall to the ground. But I wanna show you this ribbon structure. The magnet structure with the ribbon. This magnet is very heavy, but it's manufactured in a way where this ribbon has to be placed right in between the two sides of the black magnet. And that ribbon is corrugated. Corrugated means it's sort of wrinkled in a way intentionally. It helps it perform better. But cutting that ribbon to the exact width that it needs to be to fit inside those magnets, and then from there, tensioned, there's screws at the top and the bottom that tension the ribbon, make it tighter and looser to give it just the right frequency response. It's a pretty cool process that has to occur to make sure you're getting the most out of this microphone. So let me show you the Cinemag transformer. After the signal leaves the ribbon and enters into the transformer, it then comes out the transformer and connects to the XLR output, which then goes to your preamp. We use Cinemag because they're a very good transformer supplier. What does it mean to be a good transformer supplier? I mean, they source the highest quality materials. They make the stuff on consistent machines. They have qualified engineers, and they just do an incredible job. It's in a mu metal can. That's why it's got this metal can around it. That's going to help shield the transformer from picking up any noise, hum, buzz in the studio around it. But we are thrilled to have a very high quality Cinemag part to sort of end the signal chain inside the mic. So, from ribbon through transformer to preamp. Thank you so much for taking a moment to learn about the WA-44 with me. I am so thrilled and excited about this microphone. If you've got additional questions that I didn't answer today in the video, please go to warmaudio.com where we've got sound samples, additional photographs, and more information. Thanks again, and take care.